We are live here with the IDP Guys Start Sit Show, live every Sunday morning. And we are here to answer all your Week 7 start sit questions. We do have some buys that are affecting lineups. We have injuries that are coming in, still affecting lineups. So let's get started with who I'm joined by. First person here is Will, also known as Skinny Chef. Then I'm also joined by Steve, also known as Dynasty Santa. And then the musical artist, Matt Record.
Who dabbles in IDP.
So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And we'll get to them as the show goes on. So, Santa, I see you got a first one pulled up here.
Yeah, we got a little Twitter thread going. We got Matt asking. So look at this. He's got a pretty fantastic IDP lineup.
Holy cow.
Ready to go, but he's itching to start Willie Gay possibly in there. So wanted to see who you guys thought we could plug him in for.
So
the only guy I really saw in here as a possibility would be Matt Judon, right? I mean, there's nobody else you would be, plugging Gay in for his first week back, right?
The rest are super solid. The thing is, I really like Judon's. First of all, he's been ultimately consistent on from. I guess he's classified as a linebacker here. He's been so consistent, and the Bears just are such a tasty matchup in the sense that I think the Pats are going to be playing defense a lot in that game. Full disclosure, I'm a Pats fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but I do think Judon's gonna have a whole bunch of opportunities there. So I obviously scoring matters. So if this is a splash play sort of heavy league, I prefer Judon there. So unfortunately, I'd probably keep Gay on the bench. But that is a stacked team. Nice work.
Yeah, I'm right there with Matt. I don't want to bench any of those guys. I know Chicago can be scary because they don't get a lot of offensive plays, but the few offensive plays that they are doing, they're giving up stats to IDP. Justin Fields is getting sacked at the highest rate out of any quarterback in the NFL right now. So it's at like 16, I think it's 16.5% of his dropbacks he's getting sacked on. So that's a really high number. Most of the other teams in the league are under 10%. So I want any piece that has the opportunity to get a sack in that game, and Judon's that guy. And then just kind of touch on Gay. We don't really know what his usage is going to be yet coming back from suspension. The guys that have played in his stead have done well. And I don't know that Willie Gay gets the snaps right off the bat that we were accustomed to seeing him get.
That was going to be my concern too. Darius Harris played pretty well, so we could see a return to the Spagnuolo dreaded doom linebacker rotation outside of Nick Bolton. So yeah, I say leave Gay on your bench and watch what happens this week. But
so as you're trying to find another Twitter question, we have one already in from KJ or KG. He's asking Parsons or Warner.
I think Parsons is going to go nuts on Detroit this week. I'm leaning Parsons, but Warner's finally seemed to have woken up. So I know it's a tough call, but I'm going to go Parsons for my answer.
I sound like a broken record, but scoring, man. If you're in a tackle heavy league, Warner has turned it on the last 4 weeks now. After that disappointing start, so he's gonna rock it. But Parsons has such a tasty matchup. So if any, that's a tough one. Again, great choices, right? I would probably go Warner for tackle heavy, but if it's more like big three scoring, then Parsons. But really can't go wrong with those two.
So our regular's back, Marco. Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. And he's asking us, who should I start? Nick Bosa, Burns, Drown as DL, start 2.
Okay.
And then he has a second part to that or second part 2 and part 3 to that question that we'll come back to.
I'm not sure who that third option is. Do you guys know? Maybe a typo. Drown. I mean, since I don't know who that third person is, I'm gonna go Bosa and Bird. I mean, unless that's some ridiculous player. Bosa and Burns are pretty much auto starts for me every week.
Yeah, there's a typo there. I'm curious who that is meant to be. Burns is somebody I would definitely consider benching. Derek
Brown.
Oh, yeah, it's Bosa and Burns.
Agreed.
And then part 2 to his question is Anzalone or Quincy as linebacker?
That's easy Quincy for me.
100%. Yeah, he balled out last week. I'd go Quincy as well.
And then next question is part 3 to this question: Diablo, Holland, or Brisket for as a DB start 2?
Presumably that's Jaquan Brisker.
Love that name. He should go as Brisket from now on.
My phone does that every time I try to type him.
Well, my phone does it for Brissett too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Marco, to me it's dang it, Brisker and probably Holland.
Yeah, I think. Earnestly, that Bears Pats game is just so tasty from both sides on defense, to be honest. So the Patriots are going to be relying, as we have been for a while, on the run game, right? And where Jaquan Brisker sort of lines up, it's kind of a perfect spot for him to produce quite a bit. In terms of Diablo, I'd probably go Divine Diablo there. But I see both of them as very similar sort of players. Diablo's been getting a few more tackles than Holland recently, but I'd probably go Diablo personally.
Yeah, having that linebacker cheat code as a DB, I think you got to take advantage of that. So I'm on Team Diablo, and then I have Brisker slightly higher than Holland in my rankings. So Brisker and Diablo for me.
I just want to throw this out there because Diablo is technically a linebacker for the Raiders. Blake Martinez is there now, and we don't know what usage he's going to get. Probably not a lot, but you imagine he's going to start stealing snaps from somebody. And I would prefer to see how that shakes out.
I think it's Perryman. Diablo, I think, is easily the better player. So hopefully it's Perryman. But as we know, coaches are the most annoying part of fantasy football. So you're totally right. He could. But yeah, I don't know. Until I see it, I'm rolling Diablo because Martinez has been there. I know these came off the bye, but he was there week 5. And I don't think he barely played. So I'm still good with Diablo for now. But yes, certainly a concern to note.
Well, with that being said, another linebacker is getting a shot on a new team tonight or today. It's Deion Jones, and it's going to be against the Ravens. Who's he taking snaps from? Is it going to be Phillips? Is it going to be JOK? Who's it going to be?
It hurts my heart to say this, but I think it's going to end up being JOK. He is really underwhelmed this year for the Browns and for fantasy managers as well. And I'm concerned that that's the one that's going to lose snaps.
Yeah, I feel like if you can avoid all of them, I would until we see how that plays out. I know there's been a lot of talk that JOK, didn't play a whole lot last week. I think he only had 40% of the snaps just due to the matchup, and that this week he's going to be used a lot more to try to contain Lamar Jackson because we know JOK is an athletic freak. That's all well and good until we see it. He's been getting pretty good play time already this year, and as Will, you mentioned, been underperforming from what we drafted him as. So I would probably just avoid it. I don't know who's going to take snaps away from, but regardless, there's going to be fewer snaps to go around. And even when JOK had the snaps, he wasn't doing much with it.
Right. I think rest of the season, it's Jacob Phillips, but this particular matchup, I feel like, yeah, like you said, JOK is a spy to Lamar. So, yes, avoiding everyone until we see how things shake out is probably the best move for this week. I do think Deion Jones affects Jacob Phillips more for the rest of the season.
Because there are rumors out there that Deion Jones will get the green dot eventually for the Browns.
Yeah, I saw that. So that doesn't bode well for somebody there.
Yeah, and it definitely wasn't JOK that had the green dot before that. So
And hey, while we're on messy linebacker situations, we had a Twitter person asking for the Falcons linebackers, how we think that's all going to shake out. I feel like it's a similar answer. Well, maybe Rashaan Evans sticks as a top, most of the snaps guy, but man, the Anderson Walker situation is pretty messy considering how well Anderson played. I mean, he had a enormous, I think it was like 13 total tackles last week. So,
Yep.
but Walker gets to the quarterback. He's been providing you with sacks every other week or so. So, how do we think that's going to shake out? I feel like if Walker's fully healthy, I feel like most coaches don't allow players to lose their jobs from injury. So I kind of feel like Anderson's going to the back seat if he's fully healthy, but I don't know that Walker is fully healthy. So that's the conundrum.
Yeah, I think when Walker and Evans are both healthy, they are the starters there. I love Trey Anderson, absolutely adore him. I thought the Falcons were going to be bad, so he was kind of someone I was expecting to have some play at the end of this year because I thought the Falcons were going to be bad. They're going to play their young people, see what they have, right? But they keep being in games and they keep winning games, which is shocking me. That being said, if you have the depth to stash Anderson, I think I would. I do think there's a world where the Falcons fall back down to earth to what we thought they'd be, and that he'll get a lot of play later, especially after he balled out last week. So I think he's still number 3, but I think he's gonna get some playtime later this year.
Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of where saying is that I don't think that Micah Walker is going to lose snaps to a rookie because of injury. He definitely played well, which is good for those of us who got him in the draft and they're sitting on him. They brought Rashaan Evans with them from the Titans, so I think you're going to see more of what you saw before Micah Walker got hurt.
Yeah, Anderson wasn't seeing the field previously, pretty much, right? So
like no snaps. He was a special
exactly. So unless he, just really impressed coaches, I think it's logical to assume that we're going to go back to that again if Walker is fully healthy.
But I want him to be so good.
Big.
All right. So another question from the chat: Judon or Franklin?
Is that Zaire? I know our guy Leo, Master IDP, has him like a top. Oh, let me check it out. Actually, I think he's like a top 5 back linebacker this week. So if that's Zaire Franklin, I'm going with our guy on that one.
There's no question in my mind if that's Zaire Franklin that it's Zaire Franklin. He only has 2 games with fewer than 10 combined tackles, and he got 8 and 9 in those 2 games. He's absolutely balling out. While Shaquille Leonard is out, he's a must start. Mm-hmm.
So what he's probably got the better tackle floor than Judon does.
100%.
So if you go Judon,
it is Zaire.
A couple of sacks, right? So yeah, it's got to be Zaire.
Yeah. Even if your sacks are like crazy scored, I'm going with the safer pick there. And who's their matchup? The Titans. They're gonna run a ton, so yeah, he easily could end up with double-digit tackles again.
So real quick, let's move over to Twitter. I have an offensive question: Christian Kirk, Pacheco, or CEH?
Well, obviously not CEH, right? He lost his job to Pacheco, but what is Pacheco gonna? Are they actually gonna give him offensive touches? I'm hearing he's won the job due to pass blocking, so you don't get many points for that. I think that's easily Kirk.
Yeah. Oops. Not my cup over. I don't disagree with that. The 49ers defensive line is looking rather healthy this week. The only guy that's out is Eric Armstead. Everybody else got a full practice on Friday, so I imagine that defensive line is going to be pretty stout this week.
Yeah, I try to avoid any running backs playing the 49ers when I can, especially one that's a murky situation. So yeah, Kirk's the guy there.
So Marco is asking, should he drop TDP for James Cook in Dynasty?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely smashed.
yeah,
Yes.
easy yes for me too. It's clean
So-
sweep.
I know this is a clean sweep smash, but I want to ask, knowing CMC's injury history and the 49ers running back injury history as a whole, is it that quick of a smash? Or do we think if CMC goes down, TDP could have some value?
I mean, for Dynasty, I don't think so. Look where it happened to Elijah Mitchell, right? People are taking him probably as a top 15 guy in Dynasty startups, and his values just plummeted. So even if McCaffrey goes down, Mitchell's still there, Wilson's still there. So I just have zero interest in him whatsoever, personally.
Yeah, I still think James Cook I don't think we've seen the best of James Cook either. I mean, it takes players a minute to get up to NFL speed. Not everyone, right? Everyone's different, but that Bills offense is so freaking potent, right? And they are just looking for a running back, right? So I like the chance that Cook can be that guy more so than TDB becoming relevant.
So since you guys mentioned CMC, how are you dealing with him today? There's no way he's going to get a full-blown share of snaps today just because how long has he had to take a look at the playbook? Or is it one of those things that they'll use him in the red zone as an extra threat?
How could you possibly bench him? Even he doesn't need a million snaps, right? Especially he's in a good offense for once. Yeah, it's very possible he gives you a 5 or 6 point game, but how can you bench him if you know he's playing? It's just impossible for me. Like, what other options are you taking over him? Like, unless your team is completely stacked, I don't know how you can bench him if we know he's playing. I get it, but I can't. I want to be.
Yeah, I mean, not to discredit what running backs do at all and to say their job is easy, but walking into a new team as a running back, they can say, run through that hole, run over here to the flat, I'm going to throw you the football. Like, you can really simplify the running back position to get touches to a new guy. And also, they're going to use him in specialized situations when he's on the field. So if he's on the field, you expect he's going to get the ball and come off if he's not needed to get the ball. So I think he might have a low snap number, but he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of touches.
And then also staying in San Francisco with CMC, they're usually a running back by committee team. Does that stay true, or is there going to be a heavy dosage of CMC now?
Yeah, I think today you're going to see that, obviously, for all the reasons we just said, but you don't give up the assets you gave up to not run CMC as much as you can. Granted, he does have that injury history, which I'm sure they want to protect him. They have bigger dreams because apparently they're all in with my guy Jimmy Garoppolo, as we all expected them to be. I think it's going to be more, 60-40, but he's too talented to not play. But I would, obviously every other running back there in San Francisco takes a big hit, in my opinion.
I think this is the last week Jeff Wilson has any sort of value. I know everyone's going to want to bench him. If you're deep and desperate, I think he's still playable. Like we said, just because I think, I don't know that McCaffrey's going to play upwards of 90% of the snaps. It could be closer to like a 60-40. So maybe Wilson breaks one. So I'm not totally out on Wilson this week, but after this week, yes.
And then one last thing that is part of the CMC story is Chuba and Deontay Foreman. Where are you guys putting them at? Are you just grabbing them and stashing them, or is it I'm not even messing with this situation in Carolina because their offense is so bad?
The latter for me. I'll let someone else deal with that mess and start them the right week. And that offense is just so putrid that I don't want any part of it.
Yep. Backup running backs that wouldn't be starters on any other team in the league with a bad offense. Yeah, even desperation times, I think I take a shot on some other running back, hoping the starter gets injured.
Yeah, I'm a Foreman guy. I think Hubbard stinks, so I'm taking my shots on Foreman. But yeah, it doesn't feel good starting any of them.
All right, let's get back to our chats here. KG is thoughts on wide receiver George Pickens this week. He has Claypool, Judy, and Allen on his bench.
Do we know who's starting at quarterback for Pittsburgh? Did I miss that?
Pickett, I believe, is what I heard yesterday.
If Pickett's back, I like Pickens. I think they have that connection. We know that Mitch doesn't seem to like Pickens, which really sucks. So if it's Pickett, go with Pickens. If it's Mitch, go with Claypool and leave Judy and Allen on the bench for me. Obviously Denver starting a terrible quarterback. He's probably going to lock on to Sutton as a target hog. And then I'm completely out on Keenan Allen for the rest of the season to begin with. This injury, he's old and so no thanks. It's either the Steelers guys for me, depending on who's actually starting.
And Russ is not starting, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, he's out. Kenny Pickett did clear the concussion protocol yesterday and is in line to start.
Yep.
Peter, I'm playing against the number one of our league and need some crazy boom. Edwards, Collins, or Mac Hollins with the biggest potential?
Well, we've only seen the only boom guy of that list so far this year has been Mac Hollins, but boy, is that gross to trust him because he is complete boom or complete bust. I kind of like Gus if he's playing. I don't know, but that's really tough and then Nico is just. I mean, I know they have a good matchup this week, but he's that whole passing offense is just gross. So I guess I'm gonna say Mac Hollins, as gross as that sounds for me, but he's the only one that's shown us that he boomed this year.
Yeah. Waller's out. Renfro's only had a limited practice while he's battling whatever he did to his hip. Nico Collins, he's a good player, but he doesn't give you the boom that Mac gives you. So I'm going to go Mac Collins there as well.
Yeah, let's make it a 3 for 3. Nico Collins, I feel like we've talked about being a boom guy forever. I just don't know if he's ever really put it together. To your point, Santa, yeah, Mac Collins has actually done it this year. So I'd go him.
Matt, he needs a bye week fill in, and it's going to be Adaba, Gibson, or Frank Clark.
Well, those are all gross.
Am I crazy to say Frank Clark?
That's what I was leaning.
Like,
are you crazy? No. Would I do it? No.
Yeah, yikes. That's the initial name that I was leaning to, but
I don't really like Travis Gibson's matchup against the Pats this week.
Who's starting for y'all this week?
Mac Jones, apparently.
Okay.
He was afraid that Zappy was going to steal his job.
Yeah. I'm scared to look at what my rankings say. Because I have a feeling.
That's what I was gonna say. Did you even rank any of those guys?
Yes, Obata's in my ranks. Gibson, I think, is still in my ranks. I might have pulled him off.
I'm going right to the bottom because I assume that's probably where they're all hanging out.
They're in not that low. Oh, maybe I don't have any of them ranked.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. Not,
Yeah.
none of them.
Hit that Control F. See if you're not missing.
Yeah. It's not coming up. Oh, there we go. Nope. Nope. Travis. All right, Gibson is the winner.
well, so here's the reason why I went Frank Clark. He's on the field typically around 80% of the snaps,
right,
which is where you want that to be. You can't score points if you're not playing, right? They're playing the San Francisco 49ers, who typically run quite a bit, right? So I guess you can make the same argument for Travis Gibson with the Pats. Granted, I think with Damian Harris getting hurt and with Ramondre Stevenson, it's less of a full-time running attack than I think people have sort of expected, which is why the 49ers, we know what they are. They only asked Jimmy G to throw, 13 times last week? Like, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for Frank Clark to get those few tackles, but gross.
Yes.
Let's see here. Are you starting Dak over Jimmy G today?
Yep.
100%.
That matchup's too juicy to pass up. I know it's scary, but I think you got to.
I mean, it's the Lions and their defense is awful. I can't believe I'm saying that, and I'm a Browns fan. So
yeah, but I mean, Jimmy G does have CMC now.
Yeah.
I'm
staring down the same debate in a league myself, so I'm really curious for insights other than my own here.
Well, for me, it's the same. It's the same thing. Stats just sort of said. Like, they only asked Jimmy G to throw 13 times last week. Granted, he scored 2 touchdowns on those 13 throws. He's not really put in a position to really score that many points. Whereas Dak, obviously, the matchup is really tasty. I think they're going to be on offense quite a bit because the Cowboys defense obviously is balling out. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities. He's not going to go out there and not crush it, especially after the Cooper Rush stuff with all of the, is there a QB controversy? I think Dak's motivated. I think the Cowboys are motivated. I feel like you have to go with that upside there.
So I have another question on Twitter. It's a full point PPR league, and he needs 2 flex positions. It's Darnell Mooney, Kareem Hunt, Hunter Renfrow, Robert Woods, DJ Moore.
I think for me, for sure, Kareem Hunt's in there. I think that's an easy start for me, and then I got to think about the rest of them.
So
shoot those names again.
So it's Darnell Mooney, Kareem Hunt, Hunter Renfrow, Robert Woods, or DJ Moore. And if PJ Walker's starting, which I think he is, his downfield throws last week are all negative yards.
Oh, that's so sickening for DJ Moore. I feel so bad. He's so good.
He's also the only target there.
All right.
Now he is, yes.
No Robbie Anderson, no CMC.
Yeah, I just gotta believe in the talent. I'm gonna say probably Moore and Hunt for me.
That's so tricky. I kind of like. This is going to be a gross thing to say. I kind of like Mooney as that. I mean, the Patriots defense struggles with speed. You know, I mean, if you really want to go, if you're going for talent, it's going to be DJ Moore and Kareem Hunt, right? But if you're feeling a little frisky and you want to have some action on the Monday night game, right? Have a chance to. I don't know. The Patriots defense always struggles with speed. I think Isaiah McKenzie absolutely destroyed us in the playoff game last year from the Bills. I don't know. For some reason, I'm liking Mooney, but I'm also a masochist.
I like that. That's solid reasoning.
I know this answer is not going to help at all, but I like Kareem Hunt and Robert Woods.
Yeah, add to it. Well, because the Patriots always take away your best option, and what do the Bears have? They have a rushing attack, right?
Dante Pettis.
So I feel like we're going to be forcing Fields to be throwing, right? Has he proven to be able to do it? No, but why not this week?
Yeah. Not this week.
So we got a question from our very own Logan Glaze. It's a half PPR league. Pick 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. It's Bateman, Sutton, Ramondre, Najee, ETN, Dobbs. Is it Dobbs or Dubs? And then Pickens.
I've heard that and also Romeo Dubes, so I have no idea.
I think the announcers say Dobbs.
Do they?
I think.
Because they're always right.
Yeah, true. Well, they do. They're supposed to have pronunciation sheets. So I would hope so.
Have we heard for sure if Bateman's playing yet?
He's likely to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's official yet.
And Damian Harris is coming back today, correct, Matt?
Is he? I thought he wasn't.
Yeah.
He will play. He will play.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I don't really care about that. I feel like Stevenson's won the job on that one. Not just due to injury. I think he's just played better.
Even the Patriots, they're another team that's running back by committee.
Mm-hmm.
And if one running back is fumbling, or he's not seeing the field anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't been since Harris has been out, right? Stevenson's been the.
Yeah, he only missed one game, and then Stevenson crushed it.
Oh, it's only been one game? I thought it was
Yeah.
more than that. Shit.
It was
Okay.
supposed
Damn
to
it. Well, all right. In that one game, he was a bell cow. I just love him, and I have a lot of him, so I think I'm biased there.
So to answer the question, I think I like Bateman as the wide receiver there if he's playing, obviously, and then for the flex, because of Damian Harris, I was thinking Ramondre, but Harris there's just enough doubt, right, that I think Najee Harris is probably your guy against a Dolphins team that I think gives up a decent amount on the run.
Yeah, we're all going to be all over the place on this one. I'm going to give you Sutton and ETN. I think, like I said, I think bad quarterbacks like to, lock onto one guy, and I'm just going to bet that one guy is going to be Sutton. So I still think he can have a good enough week. And then I just think it's ETN's, breakout period right now. He's slowly taking over all the snaps, or not all, but the majority. He's playing more than Robinson, so I'm just gonna bet on the breakout this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bateman. I definitely like Bateman over Sutton, especially not that it really makes much of a difference, but with Russell Wilson not playing, I think what little upside you thought you had with Sutton is gone. So for sure it's Bateman. And then I want Ramondre in there in my flex spot. Even though Damian Harris is coming back, the upside potential of Ramondre is incredible. I mean, we saw how good he was last week, and I don't want to risk that on my bench. The rest of the guys on that list there, I don't think any of them really have the upside that Ramondre has. And I would hate to see a Ramondre game blow up on my bench.
That's totally fair.
Yeah. I really like ETN right now in the Jaguars offense. It seems like he's getting the number one spot as weeks move on.
We just confused him even more.
Yeah, I don't think it would help Logan at all.
Well,
it's
an interesting spot, right? Because a lot of those people I have them ranked in my brain very similarly, right? So I think truly play the matchup. How risky do you want to be? Because like Bateman, it's boom or bust, really. With Bateman, it's either he's going to get a couple of those long touchdowns or he's going to do nothing, right? Versus, do you trust the backup quarterback there in Denver to get the ball to Sutton? I don't know. And then is Najee going to be the guy we draft him to be? I don't know. They're all about the same. I think you convinced me, Will. I do really like Ramondre. He when he's running for the Pats, it just looks different. Like there's just something he's attacking it a little strongly. So
Homer,
you convinced me. Yeah, I'm not telling you to go up and pick out Pierre.
I love
Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris. You can get Jonas Gray. I think he's probably still available.
Logan also asked, no Russ makes Sutton, and Damian Harris is back. Does that hurts Ramondre?
It absolutely does. But I think what Santa was saying is accurate. If you just watch the Pats play, Ramondre was winning the job anyway. Like he was already going in. Like there were so many drives where Damian Harris got them to the 20. And they're like, okay, now it's Ramondre Stevenson time, and he just threw him in there. So that was already happening when both were fully healthy. I imagine it'll be a slow back in for Harris.
All right, Logan said we are making him a lot more confused. So do you guys want to say like, hey, this is who I'm backing out of his question? Just give
I'm sticking with Sutton and ETN for my choices. I love the Ramondre. Love that. Trust me.
Sutton's going to get sauced. So for me, it's Bateman and Ramondre.
I am Bateman and Ramondre. That's 2 out of 3.
There you go. Take the majority.
All right. Sorry we couldn't help more, Logan. Marco, when Jameson Williams gets off IR, who should I drop? McKenzie, Palmer, Thornton, Dotson, or Scrotum again?
Love Scrotum, and I think Scrotum's the easy answer there.
especially with the upside the other ones have. Like Thornton and Dotson, the rookie, like Thornton just got back, and the Patriots did all they could do to get it in his hands because the only speed we have in our offense. I think scrotum's the answer.
Yeah, gently drop the scrotum.
Let's see here. Pickens or Gallup? And actually, we have another Gallup question as well. How do you feel about Gallup now with Dak back?
I was excited for Gallup with Cooper Rush. He's the guy the Cowboys pegged to be their wide receiver too. He was in line to be the one before they got CeeDee Lamb. So I'm excited for Gallup, especially having Dak back. I think every week that goes on, he's going to get more healthy and trust his knee a little bit more. And kind of like I think Matt said earlier, Dak's going to look to prove that he's the QB1 and shut down any thought that there should be a quarterback controversy in Dallas, and that's only going to bode well for the pass catchers. So I love Gallup this week, and I would take him over. What was it? Pickens was the choice.
Yep.
Yeah, I lean that way too, especially with the matchup. So for the weak answer, I'm going with Gallup over Pickens. Even though I do love Pickens with Pickett if he's the starter, but I think you are playing all your Dallas players, even the tight ends potentially there. Both running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, any piece of that matchup you can get. I think you want them in there. So and then rest of the season, Gallup should be a great wide receiver, borderline 2-3, right on the border there. So I like him for the rest of the season too.
I just got to say, if tight ends do not go off today for National Tight End Day, there's going to be some issues.
So
let's go.
So is Pickens or Gallup? Was that the question? So with Pickens, we're going off of perceived connection with Kenny Pickett, right? But we know that Dak and Gallup have that connection. Like that, I wrote about this in another article, or I read about it somewhere. But we know that. Oh yeah, the betting article. Y'all should check out on idpguys.org. We know that Dak and Gallup have that connection, and with Dak coming back, I love him even more, right? So I'd go for Gallup.
Go ahead.
Just quickly, our rankings do technically have Pickens higher, but only by about 3 spots. So they're basically neck and neck there. So just point that out.
And the matchup. Oh my gosh.
KG is back. Thoughts on Henderson over ROS? Ramondre Stevenson, I'm guessing.
I think that's rest of season.
Oh, rest of the season. Okay. I was thinking Ramondre Stevenson. My bad.
That's okay. That whole situation is wild, right? What the hell happened with Cam Akers? Like, interesting. We've got Kyron Williams pegged to hopefully be back soon. I don't know if it's going to be week 8. So I think week 8, Henderson's a smash play. I don't even know the matchup, but I don't really care. And then I'd like to see, what the split ends up being. Everyone's big on, Williams. At least there was a lot of coach speak saying that he was pegged to have an important role in that offense. Obviously, as a pass catcher, especially. So, I say if Henderson does smash week 8, I think immediately try to trade him just because it's going to get messy after that. So that would probably be my advice for the rest of the season.
Yep, Kyron is eligible to return next week. On Sunday he can be activated from IR, so probably 2 weeks before you see him on the field. So you've got 2 good weeks with Darrell Henderson, and then probably a slow ramp up period. So I would imagine you've got 3, possibly 4 solid weeks of Henderson, and then that's putting you in the week 12, I think, at that point. So I think Henderson's a good option the rest of the season.
Here's the issue with the next couple of weeks for Hendo there. He gets the 49ers next week and then the Buccaneers the week after.
Ouch.
Which does not make me feel warm and fuzzy about him. Probably a flex spot, but if there's anyone better, I'd go with someone else.
Santa, do you have any more IDP questions that you would like to answer on Twitter?
Yeah, I think there was just one more from our guy Axton. He's looking for Julian Love or Deshaun Elliott at D-back. So since now my dog's barking. I was gonna go, but if he's gonna be bad, I'm gonna mute myself. I think I have Elliott higher in the rankings. I know Love's been on fire, but again, this matchup I expect to be kind of high scoring, and Elliott's just been a monster. So I lean Elliott there, but both are obviously very good options.
Yeah, it's Deshaun Elliott for me. Cowboys are going to pass the ball a lot. We've talked about that several times so far. And Deshaun Elliott, he's a good safety. He's shown well when he's healthy and on the field. And last season he wasn't healthy, and this season he's been healthy. And he's actually, I think we touched on him a bit in our sit start article. And it's a lot of good things to say in there. He was ranked, I think, like safety 11 or something on the season after and already having a bye weekend. So, yeah, I love Elliott.
I just totally contradicted my rankings here, but so I may need to update that. But yeah, I think I'm still, like I said, they're both really, really good options. So I don't think you can lose starting either one.
For what it's worth, I like Elliott mostly for the matchup. So kind of a take Quake there.
Peter's asking, what is the trade value right now for Geno Smith?
I don't think he has one, to be completely honest. He's played awesome, but I don't think most people believe it. I don't know where you guys are at, but I don't think people realize how good he's been this season. And having been a backup for the bulk of his career, I don't think nobody's going to give anything valuable for him. And I don't know that anybody wants to give him up for those who have him because he's played well.
Yeah, I think it's totally dependent on if it's redraft versus dynasty, right? I think redraft, you can probably get a flex spot player for him, depending on who you're trading with and what they need. Because I don't think anyone believes he's going to be the quarterback for the Seahawks next year, right? Probably not.
Oh, it's Drew Lock next year.
Yeah, exactly. If someone is a contender in redraft and they lost a QB or whatever, their QB's not, you can probably get a flex position player for him. But like you just said, well, I don't think there's a whole lot. You're not going to get a whole lot of ransom for him.
Yes, that's interesting. My philosophy was almost the opposite. I think in redraft, I was going to say his value is almost nothing, unless it's a super flex league. And like you said, somebody needs desperate for a quarterback. I think in dynasty, if someone's contending this year and also needs a super flex spot, you could get like a late or last round rookie pick, which I would probably happily take. Maybe with like a young upside player, a guy that's completely face painting, like a guy like Terrace Marshall comes to mind, like Terrace Marshall in a 4th round rookie pick or something like that. Because his value is never going to be higher. So, and he came crashing back down to reality last week, right? So, unless it's a super flex redraft, I almost think he's got no value there. I'd rather take my chances on streaming almost and give up any sort of significant bench player for him in a 1 QB.
So I have a Twitter question. It's in honor of National Tight Ends Day. Ingram, Kmet, or Bellinger?
I like Bellinger. He's been tearing it up. I know the receivers are slowly getting healthy, but I think he's earned a role on that team. Ingram does have the revenge game though, so for this week it's a toss-up. And Kmet is, everyone keeps wanting Kmet to be a thing, but I don't think fetch is going to happen for Kmet.
So I like Bellinger there.
Go ahead, Matt.
I like Bellinger there. I think to your point, you've only seen his usage on offense. I'm just looking at his snap percentages. They've only gone up every single game. They've gone up, culminating in last week. He played 94% of the offensive snaps. I think with that type of usage, and for whatever reason in my brain, I just they're playing the Jaguars this week. I've always assumed the Jaguars are bad against tight ends. I don't know if that's true. Do we know? I think there's enough usage there on that team that I like him more than the other two.
So I heard something interesting on the radio this week, and it was Ingram has not been used the same as he has or that he was in college. In college, he was running the deep routes because of his speed as a tight end. And on all the teams that he's been on in the NFL so far, they've been using him on little short 5-7 yard routes instead. So do you think the Jaguars figure it out and start running Ingram downfield? Because he could be a Njoku type tight end.
Sure would be nice if they could figure that out, right? And I thought Dougie P would have figured it out by now, but Ingram's still been very inconsistent and not really scoring touchdowns either. So it's tough to it's tough to bet on a high volume reception week. I'm a big revenge factor game guy though, so I do kind of like that for this week. Especially, I don't think he left New York on the best of terms. So, and Dougie, he knows the Giants and a lot of their personnel. So hopefully he schemes, but that means he could scheme other players around their weaknesses, So I still think I lean Bellinger over that. But yeah, it would be great if they could if someone could figure out how to use Ingram correctly.
And it would help Christian Kirk down there.
Indeed. In closing the loop, the Jaguars are the 11th toughest team against tight ends, so adding more confusion.
Does that change your answer then? Probably not.
Still doesn't. I like the usage in that offense.
All right, we got a question from DJ Duvernay. Montgomery, Foreman, Pacheco, full point PPR. Also Pickens or Wandale, and Hopkins outlook for the rest of the season. So let's just start with Montgomery, Foreman, or Pacheco in a full point PPR.
How lucky we feeling? Go for it, Will.
I was gonna say I think it's Pacheco. Montgomery's got the Patriots, and they're going to take something away. And really, the only thing that has shown for the Bears well this season has been the running game. So you take away the running game, Montgomery is already kind of starting to split some shares with Khalil Herbert. So you don't like that there. His value's already taken a dip against a good defense. It's going to scheme the run game away. I don't like Montgomery. Deonta Foreman, I know that's kind of Santa's guy, but he has not shown us what he was drafted to be coming back from that Achilles. It's a great story for him, what he's done, what he's accomplished. But Pacheco is really the only guy there that I think has the potential upside this week, especially being in a PPR league. He's going to get some passes.
That's what I was gonna say. Pacheco weirdly has the highest ceiling somehow of that group. So I guess that's I agree. But I'm not starting Foreman unless I'm desperate and decimated by buys or injury. I hope he comes out and plays well, but I'm wait and see on that. I think it's your floor versus ceiling play. If you want the safer option, you go Montgomery. I know it's still gross and the matchup is terrible, but he has a role and he is technically the starter. And if you want the ceiling, you go with Pacheco there, depending. So just depends on your gambling style there.
Yeah, I agree that it's Pacheco. The Mahomes is not afraid to throw to the running backs. In fact, that's where CEH's value really came this year, was catching out of the backfield. So if Pacheco is starting, which all indications are that he is, I think he's going to have more catches than we're used to seeing in his stat line. So Pacheco.
And then Pickens or Wandale.
I love Wandale too.
Pickens,
right? God, that's so hard. Oh my God, I love both of them.
I just want the Pickens to pick or Pickett the Pickens.
I know.
Connection to happen, so I can hear the announcers try to say it over and over and over again.
I'm gonna lean Pickens, but I understand the want to to start Wandale. And if he's getting healthier, he should see a lot more snaps. They still have 0 good wide receivers there outside of him. Well, Tony can be good, but he's obviously still injured. So I get the attraction there, but I think you stick with Pickens for this week.
I think it's Wandale, to be quite honest. Better offense that is sustaining their drives. You know, they're not going 3 and out consistently. They have a good offensive line. Daniel Jones is actually looking like a usable NFL quarterback, not somebody that needs to be replaced next season. And Wandale is super talented. I think he's got a really good upside this week. The game's in Jacksonville. I'll tell you, the weather in Florida this week is beautiful. So I want Wandale.
Matt, did you have anything to say about this?
I'm gonna be in the middle. Start them both. It really comes down to what type of gambler are you? You know, like to your point, Will. I think the Giants, they're gonna have more sustained offensive drives, right? Like we know like Jones looked good, and Robinson just came back from his injury, right? And he looked pretty decent in that first game back. So I do rather like that. Or are you banking on the Pickett to Pickens sort of connection happening? You know, I probably lean more Robinson just for the sake that I think he's going to have more known opportunities. I'd probably go Robinson, but I do not. Everyone wants Pickens to happen, and he's looked really good when Pickett's been out there. So I wouldn't be mad about going the other way either, but I'd be leaning Robinson.
And then the final question of his, what's your outlook on Hopkins for the rest of the season?
I mean, he's a stud. We saw it. 1 billion targets, went over 100 yards his first game back. Yeah, he was a great, you know, if you could afford to stash him, he was a great mid-round pick this year. He's, you know, with Brown out, I think he should continue to be a easy wide receiver 1.
Obviously must start.
Well, I was thinking, what's the concerns now for Zach Ertz moving forward? Is he getting his targets taken from him and going to Hopkins?
I don't think so. With Hollywood going down, you know, that was the concerns, that Hollywood and Hopkins were both going to be there, and that would draw Ertz's targets away. But with Hollywood not being there, I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue. Granted, he'll lose some targets because Hopkins is a target monster, but I don't think it's going to affect Ertz as much as we expected it to in the beginning of the season when we thought everybody would be healthy.
Now, Hollywood Brown's not out for the year yet, right? Didn't he get some pretty decent news? Like he's only gonna be out for the next 4 weeks potentially.
It's 4 to 6, I heard. But it's the same foot that he's had issues with before. So I'm pessimistic on that for the, you know, coming back and being dominant like he was too, with Hopkins there.
Sure. Where does Robbie Anderson fit in this offense?
He doesn't.
Yeah, he's gonna go 2 for 76 with a 50-yard touchdown, and then give you 2 for 13 the next week. And I'm dropping him, trading him. Not starting him. I want nothing to do with that guy.
Yeah, the Cardinals defense is such a fascinating one to figure out, in the sense that I think they're going to be playing a lot of shootouts, right? Kind of like what we saw on Thursday, which what a game that was, right? So I feel like any of those pass catchers, they're going to be throwing a whole bunch. Like they don't really have, especially, I mean, I guess James Conner's been hurt, right? But I like most of those pass catchers most weeks because they're going to be throwing a bunch.
So Marco's asking, he needs to drop 2: Bosa, Burns, Brown, Pay, Anzalone, Collins, Wilson, Quincy Williams, Diablo, Brisker. I know it's Brisker this time, or Holland.
I think it's easy for me because this is a redraft, if I remember right. It's Kwity Paye and Alex and Anzalone. Logan Wilson, hopefully you can swap him in your IR because he's out this week, and I think he's going to miss next week too.
Am I blanking on who D Brown is?
Derek Brown, defensive tackle.
Yeah, so for me, that's the easiest drop. I would say, I mean, Anzalone's still playing close to 100% of snaps, so I still want that as an emergency fill-in. So for me, it's easily Brown and Pay, who's injured. So those would be my choices.
Can I ask who you're dropping them for?
Yeah. He's probably got people coming off of like IR and stuff like that.
Sure,
He just needs to get back to a roster limit.
Yeah, if you're in a win now, obviously, Logan Wilson's not going to provide a whole lot for you for the next couple weeks, but he's too good to drop in his usage on that defense. I know he'd be the easy one, right? If you can stash him in IR, that's good.
Right, yeah, true.
But yeah, the defensive tackle is usually the one I'd be dropping.
Let's see here. Thoughts on Harris for the rest of the season and preparing for the Week 9 bipocalypse?
I mean, I faded him this year, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I mean, what can you do? You could sell him for peanuts. I feel like he's just the ultimate. Like, you kind of have to hold and just take your lashes for drafting him in the first place. Yeah, I don't know. He's he's still sort of a bell cow, so it's tough to give up on that production, and maybe they figure it out in the back half of the season. But I think if you could find a trade partner that'll give you, I don't even know the range of guy to throw out here, but like, I don't know, David Montgomery, just as gross, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, Matt, you said you're a masochist. I'm right there with you. I think you just have to hold him and take your lashes.
I agree. I'm gonna be slightly optimistic in the hope that Kenny Pickett sort of instills some sort of passing game that opposing defenses are gonna have to actually, care about, which the Steelers haven't really had. No offense to, I'm blanking on, Trubisky. No offense to Trubisky. Didn't really scare me as an opposing defense. So if Pickett can take some strides and defenses start having to pay attention to the pass game, I think there'll be more opportunities. We always know Harris is pure volume, right? He averaged 3.9 yards a carry last year. He's averaging 3.2 right now. He's only getting 14 or so attempts a game, right? But if Pickett can make opposing defense actually care about passing, and they move the ball and he gets those carries down by the goal line, he can be good. I think you're not going to get what you want from a trade because people value the name, right? Like if you drafted Harris, you're going to want someone good back. I just don't think you're going to find a trade partner willing to give up anything. Unless you're me, apparently. Maybe if you want to trade me him, I'll do it.
So I was sitting here listening to you guys talking, and I really wanted to be down on Najee Harris and tell you at best he's a flex play on bye weeks and this, that, the other. But I'm coming to this mindset that he's with a rookie quarterback. And as much as we hate coaches, they do one logical thing, which is protect rookie quarterbacks, especially when you're a good coach like Mike Tomlin. And the best way to protect a rookie quarterback is to run the freaking ball. So I think you could definitely see his touches start to go up with Pickett at QB because they're going to try to protect the quarterback, try and sustain drives, and you can definitely do that with running back as opposed to a young quarterback who's going to make mistakes and maybe not read the defenses quite right. So I think we're down on Najee, and rightfully so because of what he's performed so far. But as long as this Pickett thing holds, I think we could see Najee Harris take a couple ticks up in his production and be a serviceable flex weekly.
And I'm just looking at the rest of the schedule for the Steelers. They got a couple of pretty good defenses next couple weeks in the Dolphins, Eagles, Saints, Bengals, right? Not super great. But then we get Colts, Falcons, Ravens, Panthers, Raiders, Ravens, Browns, right? To sort of in your fantasy playoffs. So this could be a chance where, yeah, you just kind of hold on to him. But if you make the playoffs, you can really put up some numbers when it really matters.
All right. Before we answer these last few questions here, I just want to say, if you've enjoyed this, if you've gotten any positive advice out of this show, please hit the subscribe button and hit that notification button so you know when we go live every week. We'll be back next week again, Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern. With that being said, I do want to give a quick shout out to our very own Steve Bison, aka Dynasty Bison. He proposed to his lady yesterday, and he just put it on our staff chat. So congratulations to both of you. So back to the questions here. Back to fantasy football. Pacheco, Christian Kirk, or CEH is a full point PPR.
I think we had this exact question to start off, and I thought it was a clean sweep for Kirk. Was it not?
I think it was.
I must have a terrible memory. I don't remember that, but yeah, it's Kirk.
It's Kirk.
Right.
Which two running backs to start? It's a standard league between Jamal Williams, Robinson, Pacheco, Stevenson, or Gus Edwards.
Whew.
I feel like Stevenson is the one that's number one for me out of those.
Yeah, agree.
DeAndre Swift was ruled out, so Jamal Williams is a little tasty. I probably would go with Pacheco, just the offense and getting the start. But
playing the 49ers.
Yeah. For me, it just it's the expected use in the pass game. You know, like the Chiefs have such an offense, and they know how to attack opposing teams. Obviously, the 49ers have an elite defense, but I think it's going to get used in the pass game more than we expect.
Yeah, Gus Bus, right? We kind of want to wait and see what happens. So he's an easy no. Brian Robinson, completely touchdown dependent. I don't think he's actually very good. They were already. I thought I saw people talking on Twitter that Rivera was saying to get Gibson more touches, so that's not great for his value. So yeah, I agree. I think Stevenson is the easy first one, and boy, for me, that's a really tough decision between Williams and Pacheco. The Dallas matchup, we expect that, even though their defense is good, I still kind of expect that to be a high scoring game, and we've seen Detroit's offense, exceeding anyone's expectations this year. So unless they are totally derailed from the bye week, I'm gonna lean Williams on that. But man, it's really tough between him and Pacheco,
outside of DeAndre Swift coming back, they get the receivers back, right?
In theory.
Amon-Ra, yes. I think Chark is still out.
Chark is out, yeah.
And I believe Reynolds is good. So yeah.
The Cowboys' run D is still susceptible. It's not where it needs to be quite yet. It's improved. So I'm hesitant to throw Williams out there because he's got pass catcher coming back. I like Pacheco. Even in a standard league, I think he's going to get the touches to be productive. And I still want Ramondre Stevenson out there. Like I said earlier, I don't want his boom game to be on my bench. And it is still possible week one of Damian Harris coming back from injury.
All right, last question here. Robinson, Reynolds, Cooks, Thornton, Hawkinson, or Dotson? And he needs to start 4 of these guys.
I thought Dotson was out, right? Am I wrong on that?
Let me look.
Sorry.
So really, we're just benching one out of that group, right?
Yeah, right. 1,
Dotson's
2, 3,
out.
4, 5, 6. So there's 6 listed there. So Dotson, okay. So
Marco, you're not playing Dotson. He's out unless you want 0.
I think the other cut is between Reynolds and Cooks, oddly.
Not Hawkinson.
Is anyone else feeling that? Yeah, I'm thinking the matchup though, man, and I'm expecting a shootout. It may be stupid, but yeah, I guess Hawkinson should be good. Well, who would you, if it were Hawkinson or Reynolds, who would you pick between those two?
Well, because they're both on the same team, so Hawkinson.
Yeah, I'm not starting Reynolds and Hawkinson.
That's why I put Reynolds in my cut, because I think I prefer Hawkinson over him. So, and then I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about Cooks. I know it's a pretty nice matchup for them. God, that's so tough.
Well, the Lions are going to have to throw the ball
Right.
against the Cowboys.
And at some point, Diggs is going to line up over Reynolds, and Reynolds is going to make a nice move, and Diggs is going to go for an interception, and he's going to miss it, and Reynolds is going to go for a 79-yard touchdown.
How does it feel to have burnt toast on your defense sometimes?
At least he gets interceptions sometimes.
Occasionally. I probably prefer Hawkinson over the two just for those reasons. Yeah, definitively say that.
So we're cutting Dotson and Reynolds. Well, or Matt, for you, are you cutting?
I think so. I really like Tyquan Thornton's use in the Pats offense, which I think that would be another one that you could maybe convince yourself to be the one to cut, right?
I know.
But I'm an optimist. It's my
rookie.
team.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll cut Dotson Reynolds.
Well, I think that just wraps up our start sit show for this week. We'll go down the line here, starting with Skinny. Tell the viewers where they can find you at and what you're doing for the IDP guys.
So you guys can find me on Twitter at @FF_SkinnyChef. I don't live there quite as much as some of the other writers and content creators that we have, but if you shoot me a DM or at me, I definitely will see it in my messages and respond. And then for the IDP guys, I'm doing the defensive line rankings and the injury report this season for IDP.
Santa?
Yeah, just at Dicey Santa on Twitter. I'm on there more than I probably should be. DMs are open if anyone has any questions. And I'm our content manager, do some editing, ranking, writing myself. Just love I think at this point I love talking shop than actually playing fantasy football. It's so weird. I love talking like settings, setting up leagues, players, the start sit stuff. So it's been an awesome season so far.
Matt.
Yeah, you can find me on your Twitter at mrecord21. I'm a writer for the IDP guys. I write the IDP rundown that comes out every Monday, goes through every game on Sunday, tells you everything you need to know that happened in that last week. I do also dabble in musical covers from time to time. Every Thursday, I put out a little fantasy football musical cover, which is a dang delight to do, and I hope people like it. Those are being posted to Twitter as well as our TikTok, as well as on YouTube. It's kind of everywhere.
They are so good. I have to give you a shout out. I love every single one of them. The voice of a generation
or something.
So, with that being said, good luck to everybody on their fantasy matchups today. Hope you take our advice, and hopefully our advice gives you a win today. So, with that being said, good luck, and we are out.